All right, we're back having a conversation with Dr. Joel Freeman about the Rosetta Stone project. And if this is not great content, I don't know what is. People, what more could you want? We're about to solve all the problems in the world, and we're not even going to forget what we solved. Dr. Joel Freeman is here with us. Thank you so much for your time this morning. I don't want to take too much more of your time, but I did tease the fact that I'm going to ask you a question.
I've taken the word Rosetta, so it's 7 letters, R-O-S-E-T-T-A. We've done a song about it called The Key, where we have 7 steps to solve pretty much any problem in about 8 to 10 categories. And so the categories, the categories like, we have moral, ethical problems. We have financial problems, mechanical, technical problems, interpersonal problems, organizational development problems. And so to have something that's transcendent, a schema, a process, because, Erskine, we're living in a time, we had the Industrial Revolution. That changed the skylines of cities around the world. They captured the ability to use steam to be able to move things were much heavier that anyone, a human, could do, and brought ingenuity, the steam engine, all the rest of it. And that was huge, that one revolution. Now we are faced with 3 revolutions. And the first revolution is AI. The second revolution is spatial computing. The third revolution is quantum computing. And any one of those 3 is a game changer for the whole world. But to have 3 converging at the same time, I look at, you and I grew up in an era where we had to actually read a book. It took 15 years to become an overnight success, all that kind of thing.
Yeah,
And,
sure.
But for to have these 3 things happening for this generation, what I'm concerned about, there's many wonderful things that can happen in terms of medicine and science and archaeology, all kinds of different things that can develop around this, understanding different languages and things like that. But my concern is that just like muscles can atrophy after 2 to 3 weeks with no resistance, according to the Cleveland Clinic, the brain can atrophy if there's no resistance to the brain. And so if someone is sitting there, a 10th grader, and saying, I got a paper due on Friday, I'll just go, just like an addict, I'm going to go to Chat GPT and create that paper for me, or that song, or that book, or that article, or that chapter. And what happens is, I think it can create a generation of young people that will grow up with something that gnaws away at their conscience, their integrity, and saying, I did that. No, that was ChatGPT. So it's like an imposter syndrome. A poser mentality can emerge, I think. And so what I want to do is use this whole project, the Rosetta Stone project, the Rosetta Universe project, to invite people. You can't force anybody to do anything, but to invite them to use their God-given brains first, and then use technology to take it from A to A+. That's my whole desire. And so the R is something that we talk about, recognizing the problem. Now, how do we recognize the problem? Well, a lot of people have the ostrich in the head in the sand type of approach. I don't have a problem, but
I'm gonna start putting these at the bottom of the screen. Keep talking.
Yeah, I think it's important that we are people that we recognize when there's a problem. And I can't remember the person who said this, but let's say this fist represents a problem. As humans, we're always walking toward a problem, or we're in a problem, or we're walking away from a problem. So problems are a part of our lives. In fact, if someone is in business, you are right now solving a problem by having your podcast. You're bringing on guests to talk about music and talk about different things. It helps to educate, encourage, and that is you're solving a problem. When we cease to solve problems, we're out of business. And so recognize another thing of recognizing the problem.
Yes, people recognize I'm solving some problems for you that you didn't even know you had.
And another part
I'm creating some problems also.
that's part of it too. But another part of recognizing the problem is, what kind of problem is it? And what's the intensity of the problem? Is it worth my time and my attention? So I've come up with an inventory, or I'm coming up with an inventory that I'm almost there, is that there's a campfire problem, there's a bonfire problem, or there's a wildfire problem. The campfire
a little triage there, and it's a fun triage.
That is, and it allows me to use just 3 fingers. But in my backyard, if I want to do a campfire, I need to make sure there's no low-hanging branches that can cause a forest fire. but I prepare for it. So it's like owning a home or owning a car. There's always something, the new roof or new downspouts or new this or new that. The dishwasher goes, and so it's like sitting around a campfire. And you sit here, and the smoke starts finding you. You go, oh, I'm going to move over here. And then wait just about 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, and the smoke's going to find you there. You move over here, and the smoke's going to find you there. That's the way it is with campfire problems. It's all a part of life. The
Mm-hmm.
smoke is going to find us. And then the bonfire, we still prepare for a bonfire. It's like building a business, and it's kind of dangerous. It could get big so quickly that it's like, oh wow, how are we going to deal with this? And how are we going to handle that? Well, that's a bonfire problem that is prepared for, but it's not. But it's kind of dangerous, on the edge of danger. Then a
Yep.
wildfire, with a wildfire problem, we need to bring in legal, accounting. Everyone's head is on swivel. We bring all forces to deal with that particular problem, and then freak out later once it's solved. But it's the whole idea of understanding the recognizing that there is a problem, and then recognizing the type of problem, the category of problem, the intensity of the problem, and then also recognizing how to approach a problem. When I was a kid, I became a lifeguard. And one of the things they said is that if you go out to save somebody in the water, you come directly to them, they're going to bring you down with them because they're
Mm-hmm.
thrashing about. But you have to stiff arm them, get around behind them. There's a whole approach to the person with a
Woo!
problem. They're drowning.
Man,
And so,
bars. You bringing bars today.
it requires emotional
Don't drown,
intelligence.
folks.
It's like my wife, she has a problem. She doesn't want me to solve it. She wants me to hug her, and maybe 24, 48 hours later, I say, honey, I was thinking about this, and have you thought about this? Now there's an approach, a timing. So we want to train people in regards to recognize the problem. There's timing involved. There's emotional intelligence involved. There's listening involved. 2 ears, 1 mouth. There's a parable there, and all these different things about even approaching once a problem is recognized. And then
Can I go ahead and endorse you for president of the United States? Will you serve in that capacity and solve some problems for us?
No, thank you. And so then the O stands for obtaining information, and that's where reading comes in, understanding. That's where a person is before the problem. They're already trying to build a library of information and understanding, and knowing where to go and who to talk with. But it's obtaining information. If you have the luxury of doing that in a wildfire problem, it's going to be very difficult. It's going to be snap. It's a lot of native, a lot of stuff that's within the person is going to come to the forefront at that instant. But obtaining information and then specifying goals. And what are the goals? A person can say, well, I've got I want to become famous, like Jean Champollion, like the people that wanted to crack the code to hieroglyphics, or I want to become wealthy. And I think those two things, those two whys, are for solving a problem are rather shallow, but they do drive people. And so, obtaining information, trying to figure out what that is, because when we understand our why am I wanting to solve this problem, we can then deal with any who, any what, anywhere, any when, anyhow that comes against us, and we're not going to quit in solving that problem because we have developed a why, and that
Yeah.
why is transcendent. That why brings us the energy. When just like fish down at the bottom of the Marianas Trench, they don't have any thicker skin than the fish that are only 10 to 20 feet down beneath the surface of the water. But they have the matching pressure from within that causes them so they don't implode. And so it's not about thin skin, it's about having that matching pressure from within.
Woo!
So specifying goals
And
allows
illustrations.
us to become a person that has the pressure from within that keeps us from imploding and dealing with the pressure. And we need pressure from without to keep us from exploding. That's where problems come in. And so specifying goals, I think, is a very important component of understanding the problem and doing a 360, a spherical 360 around it. And then evaluating options, that E, evaluating options is something where we, like when I'm talking with someone with a problem, and a problem might be, you have eustress and distress. Distress is where the problem is causing them to implode. Eustress is causing them to be excited. It's like, oh man, I'm getting married, or I've got $1 billion idea. and they got all these things bouncing around inside of them. And so evaluating options is a very important component on this. It's helping the person to see what's the best of the worst options sometimes. I know that I have developed a process over my life is that I have done an inventory periodically, an inventory of where my counsel is in demand, and then informs what books I write. That informs what websites I put up. That informs what kind of blogs I create. So when someone calls me and says, I've got an issue about Black history, or I've got a creative idea, I've got an invention, whatever it might be. I've got a problem with my business partner. What I do then is I send them to, we talk for about 2 to 3 minutes, and I say, by the way, I have a website, truthcentrism.com. It's all about my journey in Black history. I'd like to encourage you to go read that first and then come back to me, and then we can drill down to the specificity of your situation. Because when we become specific, we get specific, we can become terrific. And so become a person that
Said
now
that
we
a
can.
time or two.
Yeah, when we get specific, we can become terrific. And
Mm-hmm.
so I don't want to deal with a general thing because I'm going to spend an hour and a half, 2 hours with this person. I don't know if I'm wasting my time with this person. So if I send them to do a task, something that I've created, they can then come back to us. And I've had 90% of the people don't come back to me. So I saved hours and hours of time with someone that wasn't serious, perhaps, or didn't have the time, or just was kind of, hey, I want to talk to Joel Freeman about this, and so that's been my approach in terms of helping people evaluate the options that they have before them. And
Wow.
then we have test solutions. Testing solutions is very important because once we come up with options, now it's like coming to for the cure to cancer, for instance. We're going to go down a lot of blind alleys, and hopefully, every time we go down a blind alley, we're going to learn something from that situation. Like Edison said, I've learned 10,001 ways how not to do it. But each time he learned something. So when he went down that alley, that blind alley where the solution was found, he had learned all from his failures, because success is not a good teacher. Failure
Mm.
is the best teacher.
Never take a loss, take a lesson. You can
And
use
so
that later.
I will use that. I've logged that away. I'll
Yes.
say it again. Take a loss, take a lesson. Right?
Never take a loss, take a lesson.
I like it. I like it. I'm gonna. That's logged away, and
Gave
I'll
that to
give you
Joel
credit the
Freeman.
first 3 times. And then to take solutions, as we test solutions, that there's different ways to test, and I'm not going to go into all the details of that, but it's just some real world ways. It's like being in a bottle. You can't read the label when you're in a jar, and sometimes just like coming up with a Black history curriculum, but we thought it was pretty cool. But then when people started saying things about the curriculum, now you're getting tests of whether or not this is something that is really scratching where people are itching.
Uh-huh.
And so taking action, different personalities and temperament styles. Some people take action before they think, before they obtain information, before they specify goals, before they test their solutions. So taking action, it's a balance between doing all those things and then taking action. Some person wants to become an entrepreneur, and what they do is they get a brand new computer. They bring in a designer for their office. They do all these things, and 6 months later, they have never taken action. They prepared to take action. Some people are eternal students, and they go to school and they go to school, but they never parlay their degrees into taking action with that information they've learned. And so taking action, there's a gentle balance there between all the processes prior to, and sometimes just saying, okay, I'm going to run on my instincts here. And sometimes people can work through the recognizing problem, the obtaining information, specifying goals, testing solutions, taking action. Sometimes it's almost like a millisecond because of the tremendous amount of wisdom that they've gained over the years. But taking action, I think, is a very important component. And then assessing results, that's where we just keep looking back and making sure that we went on the right direction. It's like I was on a board of directors of a ship, a mercy ship that went around the Caribbean. It had a draft of only about 9.5 feet. It was incredible. It was about I think it was 138 feet long, and we bought it in Stavanger, Norway, and the ship captain, he was an old retired gentleman. He came over the Atlantic, and we brought it into Baltimore first, and had all the fire engines. They were shooting water in the air. It was very exciting. The press came out, and I asked him, because when I went to his the place where he was leading and captaining, being a captain of the ship. There was a chart across the Atlantic with X marks, a line connected to these X marks. I said, "What do those X marks mean?" He said, "Well, that's when I took the longitude, latitude to see if we're getting off course. And then there's different parts where there's X marks right next to each other." I said, "What was happening there?" He says, "That was a storm." And I had to reconnect with where we were, because if you get off just a fraction of a percent off course, and then you extrapolate that over 10 miles, 30 miles, or whatever it is, 100 miles, you're going to get off course, and it's imperceptible at first, but after a while, that's what happens. So that's kind of in a nutshell what we got going with the Rosetta project.
May the stone be your guide. May the stone be your guide. With the key inside. With the key inside. Trust the process. Great things take time. That history provides. Rosetta. There's a key to the code. Rosetta. The patience of a seed when it grows. Rosetta. Some way, somehow, it already knows. Rosetta. That even as a promise, it's a soul. Rosetta. Series nice, AI saves time, but none of it replaces the computer of the mind. The bridge to the past and the future is the same. Rosetta. My love, everything is in the name. Recognize the problem and analyze the plan. Why is where I want to be, not where I am. Every new turn finds me in the same jam. $1 million question, maybe I should phone a friend. A bad apple just might be rotten at the core. A resolution won't reveal itself till I'm sure. A head in the sand never will see the sun. Some episodes require reviewing season 1. Obtain information, be clear about the issue. Take your time, same time, beware of its misuse. Research all information that's available. Books online, experts, every data pool. Brainstorm, seek feedback, then observe. Reflect on experiences, then network. Model simulate to advance in the journey. Stay up on the latest, continuing the learning. Specify the goals, define the finish line. Criteria to measure progress in real time. Study all resources to keep it realistic. Deadlines, keep urgency at close distance. Prioritize and try not to think too much. Yeah, trust what you see and don't blink too much. 2,000 years silent, 23 to understand. Planet rejoice, ancient Egypt speaks again. Rosetta. There's a key to the code. Rosetta. The patience of a seed when it grows. Rosetta. Some way, somehow, it already knows. Rosetta. That even as a promise, it's a soul. Rosetta. Series nice, AI saves time, but none of it replaces the computer of the mind. The bridge to the past and the future is the same. Rosetta. My love, everything is in the name. Evaluate options, pull a scale out, yeah. Which is still fishy, how to get a smell out, yeah. Weigh different solutions, give each a score. Pros and the cons, press each to see more. Cost, feasibility, impact and time. Sustainability, are there more facts to find? Choice, benefits, plus strengths and the weaknesses. Which is in the lead and which is being more sheepish. Test the solution, try to prove it wrong. Champollion was closest, but his stand wasn't alone. His theories were evaluated at the 10 stone. See, never fall for trying to do it all on your own. Take action, meaning it's time to implement a detailed plan with the steps to represent. Assign roles to the team, KPI. Some of the best answers come in late replies. Assess the results, the final steps upon you. A matrix of metrics is what it all comes to. What are your indicators? Since 1822, we've used the same key to learn all the fundamentals. A stone spoke 3 ways, we knew the first 2. Tried but couldn't come up with an alternative truth. Technology is beautiful and lovely, but it can never match that feeling of discovery. Rosetta. There's a key to the code. Rosetta. The patience of a seed when it grows. Rosetta. Some way, somehow, it already knows. Rosetta. That even as a promise, it's a soul. Rosetta. Series nice, AI saves time, but none of it replaces the computer of the mind. The bridge to the past and the future is the same. Rosetta. My love, everything is in the name. What's the solution? Solution. Problems are easy. What's the solution? What's the solution? What's the solution? your guide. May the stone be your guide. With the key inside. With the key inside. Trust the process. Great things take time. That history provides. Rosetta.